Let's say you've got your orders. You're in the military. You're saying, hey, I'm moving to my next location. How do I decide if I should buy or if I should rent? We ask ourselves two questions. The first one up front is, do you intend on renting a home at the location for the long haul? Meaning that you intend on having a home as a rental in the long run. And if the answer to that is yes, you might want to consider buying. You see it as going to be investment property in the long term. You may want to consider buying a home. However, if you don't want to have a rental or you're on the fence of that home being a rental, then we have question number 2. And that question is simply, will you be at the location for at least 3 years? Why do we say 3 years? Well, at that 3-year mark, you've ideally paid down your mortgage enough, and if the market's had some appreciation, the price has gone up enough to where you won't be underwater on the home, meaning that you could owe more than what it's worth. 3 years is just kind of a minimum standard. Ideally, if you're there for 4, 5, 10 years, that's even better. But we say 3 years to kind of be that cushion mark to make sure that it makes sense. If you're going to be there for 3 years or longer, well, then you might want to consider buying. If you're not going to be there for 3 years and you know it's not going to be a long-term rental, well, then we'll say the taboo answer that a lot of lenders won't say, and that's that you might want to consider renting a home. Because if you don't end up renting a home, you might jeopardize your financial position. Because if it's not going to be a long-term rental and you're not there long enough, you could go back to being underwater on that home. So ask yourself, do I plan on having it being a long-term rental? And then if it's not, or you're on the fence, ask yourself, will I be there at least 3 years? And the longer, the better. And if it is, then you might want to consider buying.